We're not live, are we? Because that's really mean.
We are.
I'm just
Wow, you just insulted the Wicked fan base.
No, we did not.
I
we
love
said it was very mediocre. That's
Yes.
what we said, which I think a lot of people are resigning to. Like I said, my wife, right before we started, my wife saw it. She was not overly impressed with the with the production of it.
Yeah.
I expected her to walk out of there with just loving the music and the songs and stuff, because that's how she walked away from Greatest Showman. When she watched Greatest Showman, she was so hyped to, another level.
Uh-huh.
Someone's at my door with a child. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, she like can quote every single song.
Yeah.
And she just was like, right when she watched that film for the first time, she was like, that's the greatest soundtrack.
Yeah.
Same with Hamilton, like greatest soundtrack, all this stuff. And I'm assuming that the movie probably deploys the exact soundtrack as maybe the musical.
I've
maybe
heard
there's
that
some
of
changes.
the songs that have released, the changes have been very minor.
That's what I would
to
figure.
the point where it's not like
So
There's
negligible.
Gravity, Infinite,
popular.
Popular.
Gravity is a really hard song to perform, and I heard that she knocked it out of the park. From what I heard.
Yeah, so I'll agree with Billy's wife. I thought it was mid.
yeah.
But I'm withholding a lot of my judgment because a lot of my issues with it
Is it
might
the
be answered.
performances or is
No,
it
might
the
be answered
story?
in the second. It's the story.
Okay.
Performances were great. Actually, my personal favorite, I liked Ariana Grande in it. It felt like the director just kind of let her be unhinged, and to me that was entertaining to watch her just be like crazy.
Yeah.
No, my issues are with the story, which I don't know how close it is to the play, and I'll hold most of them until the second movie, but as of now, it feels like to me a poorly written fan fiction of Wizard of the Oz. Like I wasn't sold on the final
I think it's
act
just
either.
Wizard of Oz,
Yeah,
not the Oz.
Wizard of the Oz.
You
No.
put extra emphasis on his
The Oz.
The Oz.
But like the conclusion of this film, I guess, is right where the intermission takes place, and
Yeah.
I mean I won't spoil
So
it.
did it end on Defying Gravity then?
Yeah.
Because that's like the middle of the.
Mhm.
Okay.
So it ended there, and I didn't buy the decisions that characters make at that point.
Yeah.
Like you didn't sell me that.
That they would have done certain things.
Yeah.
I think the Broadway show kind of, and I'm only speaking from that because I've only seen that. I haven't.
How long is the Broadway show?
A couple hours maybe.
Most, I think, are designed to be around 3 with an intermission.
Yeah.
So was
Maybe-
the movie longer?
Maybe like 4.
The movie wasn't 3 hours.
No, but like the first, like this part one.
Oh, I
was
guess
like
you're-
two
I
and a
see what
half
you're saying.
hours.
No, I think maybe it might have been like 4. It's hard to say.
Okay.
I didn't see it live. I saw like a
Recording.
recording of it, but
I think in a movie you can have a lot more downtime than in a
Yeah.
theater production. Like you can kind of set up an environment, you can kind of let things be, showcase visually what's going on versus when you're in a theater. I think the entire medium is different, so it probably is faster pace. You can take your time, drag it out, and make 2 movies out of it. Milk some money. Milk one of the most successful Broadway debuts of all time, right? I think it was like top 5 or something like that.
I do personally. So I never watched the original play. I like Hamilton's music better, and I like a recent musical like Has Been Hotel. I like their songs better. I wasn't a fan of any of the songs from Wicked. Like I didn't go in. I need to look that up. No, I was like, okay. To me, it falls under, and this is just personal preference at this point. Nothing like I'm sure the songs were great. My friend who loved Wicked loved the music and loved hearing it, but those songs, especially in Wicked, fall under their musical songs. I like musical songs that could be a real song.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Has Been Hotel has some of those, and then I think with Hamilton, Satisfied to me sounds like an actual, like I could hear it on the radio. But these ones,
so you don't like songs where like
They're hyper specific about what's the
well, like they're basically singing the story of the movie.
I don't like, where they're like,
where they're not. It's not like you could take it out of context and just listen to it like, oh yeah, but it's because the song only makes sense within what's happening.
It's
the
like
movie at that
dialogue.
point.
It's musical
so you
dialogue.
like dialogue-driven songs.
No,
No.
He likes.
Opposite.
Yeah.
You don't like dialogue. That's what I said.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
You don't like dialogue-driven
No.
songs.
Not like I like songs with words, obviously, like with dialogue.
You like the
but-
song to just be good.
There's a difference between lyrics and dialogue.
Yeah,
I think that's obvious.
dialogue is
Yeah.
between two people, or
Yeah. Gravity is very much Defying Gravity is very much a dialogue between two people. I get that. I'm not gonna knock that. That's not necessarily how I think, but I can respect that.
and that's why I said it's a personal opinion. I know there's people who love it, but I just, as somebody who doesn't know a lot about musicals, the reason I didn't like them when I was younger was that same reason. And a lot of these newer musicals, I find
Damn, so like Les Mis probably would be horrible for you.
probably
The whole movie is
Probably.
song. Like
But-
they're singing everything.
like one of my favorite musicals is what's Ewan McGregor? I can't think of it. I know it uses all just licensed songs.
Oh, oh god, it's the Baz Luhrmann movie?
Yeah,
what
it's
What is the name
It's
of
on
it
the-
though?
tip of my tongue.
Ewan McGregor, Baz Luhrmann.
And Nicole Kidman. Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
I really like Moulin Rouge, but that's
Yeah.
because all the songs are licensed songs, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
It's been a long time since I heard it.
like
but
they're like
I've seen it.
AC/DC. I don't know who, but
It's all ACDC. Moulin Rouge.
Hells bells. I think there is a Leonard Skinner song in there.
Well, I don't know how we started talking about Wicked right off the bat, but
I'm not a musical guy. I'm not. Yeah, I don't. The Greatest Showman is okay because it's got Hugh Jackman, and I like
you
him.
just because I can like imagine he's Wolverine.
Yeah, I can imagine they're not singing, and I don't feel like there's so much singing. Hamilton, I've seen like 4 times because my wife begs me to watch it all the time with her, and I succumbed at only 4 times so far. But Hamilton's less okay, and I'm not really interested. I feel like the Wicked storyline, that whole thing's kind of been told. I don't know. It's
Well,
not.
Well, it's definitely unique. The
It's
Wicked
unique.
storyline is different than like if you're thinking it's going to be like what's that James Franco movie Oz Grand Power. It's nothing like that. Like it's almost intentionally like a parody of Wizard of Oz. It's not necessarily
Wicked is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's like
that is the origin story of the witches.
it is. It's an origin story, but it's not. It's definitely like I would be hard pressed to think that this would be the origin story of the witches we see in the Wizard of Oz.
Exactly that,
Like,
and that's
it's not. It's like its own thing. It's
I
like
see.
an alternate canon.
that's why I don't like it right now. Is because I cannot see the connection between the two.
I don't
with-
think you should. I don't think that's the
Elphaba.
point.
I don't know. And supposedly some crazy stuff. Like I got spoiled on that. Like she didn't actually melt from water, and it was all whatever. It's crazy. She told a little kid that she was gonna find her and her little dog too. Like she's creepy, and they're trying to make me think she's an anti-hero. I'm like, I don't like you.
This is like an Elseworld story. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like a. It's not in that same canon. I didn't know we'd be talking about the Wizard of Oz canon. But like, if you went into the movie thinking that this is this is going to teach me so much about the Wizard of Oz, like that's not what they're going for.
So let me ask you, Kyle, real quick. Do you know it's all based off of a book, right?
Well, there's
Or
a
no?
book called Wicked: The Life and Times, but it's
Like Wizard of Oz itself.
yeah.
Is the wizard being from Omaha? Like, is that in the book? How much of that was made up by like
I don't know enough
Wicked
about
or like?
it. But in the book,
Okay.
it's way different because it's a series of books, and
Oh,
there's
okay.
not just the Wicked Witch of the West and the East.
Is it Omaha or Oklahoma?
Omaha.
There's 4 different. There's like 4 different evil witches, 4 different good witches.
Oh wow.
And they're like deities almost. Like it's completely different than anything we've seen adapted into film.
Huh.
Books are way different than anything. So like
So-
I don't think at this point take the story and do whatever you want with it. You know, because it's
Sounds
been
like we need a
interpreted
new
so many
Wizard of
different
Oz
ways.
series.
One book friend, like book faithful.
Yeah.
Like
get crazy with it.
Yeah, let's advocate for that on the K ratio.
It's exactly what we want to talk about.
Now I see Billy is eagerly itching to talk
He's
about
waiting for the real topics.
the real
What you
topics.
came here for.
which is
Well,
more
I came.
Oh, I
Wicked.
came.
Path of Exile 2, baby. Are you guys going to play it? It's
You-
free to play.
Probably not.
Really? You're not interested?
I have so many other.
It's like Diablo, but more grindy. And I don't know, because that's my least favorite part of Diablo.
From what I've seen, it is such a time and brain power investment that I would need to input to this game.
Okay.
I
Are
don't-
you judging it solely off of Path of Exile 1?
Well, why don't you sell us on it before we...
Yeah.
Why are you excited about this?
Let me tell you something, boys. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show, folks. No, I'm kidding. Honestly,
I was like, man, he prepared.
Co-op and crossplay is enabled on this. So we would be able to play together. You can play it with together up to 6 players. Okay. The reason why I'm excited for this, I played a little bit, and I mean a little bit, of Path of Exile 1. Path of Exile 2 has me intrigued because they have simplified a lot of their systems.
Okay.
That does not mean that the complexity and all the end game stuff that you're talking about, where you're going to be putting all this brain power and stuff, that does not mean that that's absent from the game. When you look at their skill tree and all that stuff, there's still like 1,500 options and all that stuff to do. But a lot of the upgrades and the weapon systems of the game are definitely streamlined. I don't know. I didn't play enough of Path of Exile 1 to really speak at it at any intellectual level, but like their whole gem system and weapon upgrade system has been severely like straight streamlined and just made simple across the board. The combat has me super excited. It looks very, very fluid. The studio has me really excited because I really liked Path of Exile 1, but it just felt like an older game. Like it just felt old compared to, and I played it after Diablo 4. Because Diablo 4 was my first real true to the name ARPG, you know, like Diablo-like, if you want to use that phrase. And I was hooked. It hit a niche in my brain that was like, oh my God, why haven't I played these types of games before? Like, This is crazy. And I went to Path of Exile 1, and it was overwhelming, and it felt dated compared to D4, and I was like, it's not the new shiny thing that I want. I'll check it out later. Then they, shortly after, announced Path of Exile 2 and all this stuff. So right now, it's just early access. The early access drops December 6th, so like in a few days. And it's $30 to play the early access. The game goes free to play whenever the game gets released. Which they're saying, like, people are kind of estimating that's going to be around like 6 months or so, but they haven't put a firm date on it. But you're still getting probably more content than Diablo 4 came out with at launch. You're getting 3 acts of the story. You're getting like half of the, like, I think almost all of the classes and half of the, they call them ascendancies, like, which are, I would know them as like class specializations from Guild Wars 2, which actually so much of dude, I swear there's somebody on their dev and art team that is a fan of Guild Wars 2. I swear to you. First off, so the sorceress class, the specializations are Stormweaver in Guild Wars 2. There's specializations for Elementalist, which is sorcerer, is Weaver. Okay. They have a Tempest. The specialization in Guild Wars 2 is Tempest. They have a Chronomancer in Guild Wars 2. The specialization is called Chronomancer. Like, and their weapon art, they're not their weapon art, but like their character art and their skill tree is like almost 1-for-1 ripoff of it's all based around this circular design, and it's like really simple. Now I know like game menus, a lot of the things share design, but it's just like it echoes so closely with what's implemented in that game. But anyway, that's a side
I
tangent.
think it's possible.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But what
There
gets
also
me
is
excited?
a lot of shared, like, there's only so many names, you know, in the fantasy
100%.
genre.
Yeah, when you're talking about like,
Yeah.
I mean, everybody uses sorcerer, right?
Yeah, like,
Of
I mean,
some
that-
sort, right?
Chronomancer.
Chronomancer is pretty bog standard. I like, you know,
A
managing
lot of
time.
this goes back
Time
to
wizard.
like the pen and paper D&D from the 70s.
Yeah.
Well, and so this is what gets me juiced up for this is the early reviews, which I don't know how accurate these are. Obviously, it's early reviews. They say that the game, this early preview, comes with like 40 to 60 hours of story content, and apparently the story is Souls-like in the sense that like the boss fights are actually really challenging. And there's no like difficulty scaling, so you don't put it on easy or anything like that. You just go in and adventure. And one of the things I love about, I didn't know I didn't like this until about 300 hours into Diablo 4, but a lot of the OGs of ARPGs, that's funny to say, the OGs of ARPGs recognize this problem relatively quickly, which was this idea of itemization. Itemization in Diablo 4 really plagued the game because there wasn't enough ways to customize your build. Like we were just talking about it before, you had really sought out this one exact playstyle. And to get that playstyle, you had to grind, well not grind, but you had to play for longer than you would have liked to get that one unique, which then completely changed how your class played.
And would have allowed me to have fun.
And allowed you to have fun. That is so different in Path of Exile. Because there's so many different branches. Like you almost don't look up build guides for Path of Exile because you really can't make. You can make bad decisions, I guess, but the whole point of it is you have all these options to you to get your character to build to your playstyle. Like what do you enjoy? Do you enjoy mobility? Or do you enjoy like AoE damage? Do you enjoy defensiveness? Do you enjoy like? And what are you what class fantasy are you trying to achieve?
I just looked up the skill tree.
Oh, it's crazy.
It's like you can't even fit it all in one.
It's scary.
It's overwhelming. But like that doesn't come at you right away, right? Like you sort of build into that. You're not just fed all these levels and options, and like you have to choose and allocate those things immediately. And so one of the cool things that I really like about this game that I didn't get from Diablo, and I realized that when I got to the end game point, is this game I think is going to allow me to have that class fantasy of like, okay, hey, I can role play as this sorcerer or whatever. That's just absolutely shitting lightning bolts everywhere and all this stuff. But then the whole thing is tuned around the end game experience. So I can level up, I can gear my character, build it the way I want to play it, and then get into the challenging content. And then really, that's where you start to get into, okay, now you've got to really think about how you're designing your characters, what gear you're wearing, what skills you're going to have attuned to your bar, what like gems that are going to empower your build and things like that. And so I love that whole end game loop that is going to sort of get built out with this. They have over 100 unique bosses, I guess, that's coming out with this game, which is so many. And apparently the story is actually really, really difficult, which excites me. Like it's not just like a throwaway. Like Diablo 4 was a throwaway. Apparently the Path of Exile storyline people really enjoy.
Okay.
So
is there romance?
Yeah, are
there are no romance options. No. Damn
it.
Yeah, I'm not playing it.
But yeah, let me share my screen here. Let me share my screen here because I think someone from GGG or Grinding Gear Games, the developers of Path of Exile, listened to this podcast because what did we say?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
What did we say a long time ago that we want to see in pre-orders and stuff like that? Well, if you scroll down here, they have all the different pre-order options. So I just got this one. It's just the $30, which gives you the access to play it on December 6th. But if you scroll way down to the bottom, you just see like all the different options that you can do to support the game.
480?
Well, here's the thing. What comes with, so this is you basically you're paying to get this. You get the in-store points or whatever, and you get all these items. You also get extra early access keys to give to your friends. You get four extra early access keys to give out to friends. That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Look at this. This is what really got me excited. Love to see this. Where the hell is it? What?
You took it away.
What?
No, hold on. It's right here, but
the logo.
Oh, here we go.
hoodie?
Sorry. Yeah. So that's I thought it wasn't grayed out, but yeah, you get a hoodie and a t-shirt. So you get like actual items, like real life stuff. Remember we were talking about how we wish these pre-order, like they gave you stuff like the memorabilia or cool things. Like
Yeah.
I don't necessarily need an 8-inch figurine or whatever. Give me stuff that I can wear or actually use. I love seeing this,
pretty cool.
in bundles. Like you get because if you were just to buy a hoodie, you probably spend an $80 for like a hoodie at launch for a brand new game, and then probably $35-$40 for a T-shirt.
Well, and it said if you didn't want those, you could trade them in for more points.
Exactly. So, which is kind of a neat thing too. So, like, and what's really cool about this, if you read this support, and this is why people love this game developer, is because they're just like nerds and just dudes that
Just guys
they
being
make
dudes.
sense. Is these are all tiered. Like if I buy this and then decide to buy this, I don't pay 60. I pay 30 because I already bought this. Right? It's all
That seems like that's how it should be.
it's
but-
how
Yeah.
it should be, right? And then like I love this. If you want to come up with your own payment plan to like work towards, the higher tiers, email us and we'll work with you to build a payment plan. It's like you're like building like a layaway thing. So if you're like,
Yeah.
I want to achieve this because I've been playing Path of Exile for 10 years or whatever, and I want to support this game, and I want all these features or not features but skins really, but I can't afford $500 right now. They'll work with you to put a payment plan together. I'm like, it's little things
very
like
cool,
that that's
yeah.
just legit to me. That just makes me feel really good. So I end up splurging the $30 to play this.
Do you think they'll be bogged down pretty heavy?
Server wise,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a nightmare at
launch,
At
you think
launch,
it's gonna be?
Oh yeah. Oh, I think it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
They're launching at like 11 a.m. Pacific time on Monday next week or whatever, and I think it's gonna because it's like a smaller studio. and
Yeah,
they're
like
just-
they don't have they're definitely not Blizzard. They don't have the resources,
December
so-
6th, it'd be Thursday. Today's the 3rd.
Like
Is-
full launch.
Oh, full?
no, December 6th. You're absolutely right. It's Friday. December
is
6th
full
is
launch?
Friday.
How early is the early access?
There's no
December 6th.
December 6th is
Like
is the
how
only
early
planned
I'm
date.
saying. So
They don't have a planned
an
date.
actual launch date.
There's no, yeah.
They're already releasing over half their no, way more than half of like the content of the game. So the full story is going to be 6 acts. They're launching with 3 acts. And I think they're doing this early access also to do testing, get feedback,
Play testing.
and then 2 like maybe take away from some of the server overload because this game is being hyped to oblivion. Like I don't know how you guys probably aren't too much in the space. This game, people are already like, I'm no lifing this for the next 12 months of my life. Like they already are. They've taken like screenshots what they've shown on screen and have built like paths of exactly what they're going to end up building towards and stuff. They've screen capped every single little itemization piece. Like, I need to get this gem or this gem unlocks this ability. Regardless, it's not like Diablo 4 where it's so gate kept by like a unique or like a special ability. A lot of the special abilities just sort of transform and allow you to play a certain play style. Right. One of the coolest things about this game that I found and that I hated about Diablo 4 is you don't get stunned. You'll never lose control of your character. So but in Diablo 4, you would get stunned, you get chain stunned, and it was so annoying because you lose complete control of your character. That doesn't happen in this game. You still get to be able to move around, and maybe you get like your skills disabled, but you can still dodge. And
I've
you can
always
still
hated
move
that
around.
as a mechanic.
Yeah.
You're just, especially in a game like this where you have like
Not even
1,000 monsters on you at any given time.
And it's just,
You can't even, yeah. You're just standing there at full health, and then you're just fucking dead.
Yeah, I hated that as a mechanic. And you know what I also hate as a mechanic is stupidly low like stamina bars for running.
Oh,
I hate especially when I'm not in combat.
permanent sprint.
Why are you limiting my ability to run? Like I hated that.
I don't need a role play
Padding.
as a runner. Just like give me the access. Yeah. Give
Yeah.
me a mount or something.
so
Elden Ring finally fixed that from all the other Souls games. Is you didn't have a stamina bar when you weren't in combat, and it just made sense.
and you had torrent.
And you had torrent.
What is there kind of like a level that you get to where you unlock all your skills and then from there you build out? You know how like in Diablo, I think it's like
50.
level 50 when you fully unlock all your abilities and skills. Like the groundwork abilities and skills.
I think you get a lot of the base abilities, but that's where sort of the itemization comes into play is making. So like, let's say you get, as a sorcerer, you get like ball lightning, right? It just shoots out a ball of lightning. A lot of the customization of your class comes from like itemization. So you might get a gem that says anytime you summon a projectile, you now summon 3 projectiles. Right? So then that adds into that. So you're like kind of unlocking. So you got like these basic abilities that you then sort of like attune to whatever build path that you want to take. And one of the build guides that I saw was this guy was able to create, I don't know, like more than 8 balls of lightning every time he was creating one, and his whole screen was just shitting like balls. He was just like this crazy arc lightning, sorcerer, and it was this really cool. It looked like this really cool fantasy that you could like live through your character on this, and so I think that more so comes from like the itemization. I don't think it's gate kept. Like you're only going to have the because I know what you're talking about, right? Where you had all these different. You had to finish your skill tree, and then you went to the passive skill tree, right? After 50. I don't think that's how this game operates. It's more of the itemization and what you're finding and things that empower it or combine things. Like there's the Stormweaver specialization. You can use like fire and lightning spells, and when you do a lightning spell through a fire field, the lightning like orb or like lightning storm or whatever becomes like also imbued with flame, so it'll do burning damage and stuff, and it changes the visual effect as well. So there's like all these different animations and play styles that you can kind of live without or live within. So I don't know. I've been pretty juiced for this for a little while, and like I said, I couldn't get into Path of Exile 1 just. The new player experience, that's what everybody really like has been talking about. The new player experience for Path of Exile 1 was pretty shit. No. It was this huge hurdle. You just couldn't, it was just too much for new players. I guess they've simplified without taking away any of the branching ability. Like
right.
I don't know what that term is, but you've simplified the user experience but haven't taken away from all the different paths that you can. Just,
I don't know. Would you call that streamlined or user-friendly?
I mean, yeah. And I really like that idea.
I like the concept and the idea of this, and I feel like I could have a lot of fun. The reason I probably wouldn't get into this is purely because it seems like it's going to be just too much. It's like intimidating for a gamer like me. I don't want to play a game where it absorbs me and that's all I play for months and months, and like that's just not the type of gamer I am. And so for me, it's easier just to like avoid that altogether.
Makes sense. Like I feel like if you were told that you were going to spend 400 hours on Baldur's Gate 3 or whatever, that would be like whoa, like that's a lot. You have to fall in love with it.
But like even like games like Baldur's Gate and the games that I have loved, like Mass Effect, Baldur's Gate, Cyberpunk, the ones that I have put a lot of time into, Skyrim even, Elden Ring, the game doesn't move on without you. So like it's super easy to take a break, play other things, stop, not be super committed. Whereas games like the Diablo, Path of Exile, or even like Destiny to a degree, it moves on and evolves without you if you stop playing, and that's the hard part for me.
Yeah, these whole games are built around this idea, which I'm not this type of gamer, so that's why I'm not going to play Diablo 4 for the next 10 years.
Right?
These games are built around the seasonal concept, which is each season there's some new mechanic or some big twist that kind of totally alters gameplay. Yeah. And then you build a character from scratch and you kind of have fun with that build diversity. I kind of want to go through and experience the content, and then when I'm kind of done with that, I'm done with that.
Yeah. Like certain games you could leave, come back, and it's a new game when you get back. Versus Elden Ring, you get back on Elden Ring, it's always going to be Elden Ring, regardless of the DLC or whatever,
I mean, I want to see what you think, and I want to watch like gameplay.
Sure.
I'm not totally writing it off, but
Well,
like
technically, this
Kyle-
is still early access, so you're not going to be missing anything from
Yeah.
launch. You know?
So like Kyle though, I have the same trepidation of like it's a lot. Like even Persona, I have to be in the right mood and the right time and the right like the stars have to align for me to start Persona because I know I'm going to be playing that for the next couple like 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's it. And so it's like I need to there's some mental manipulation I have to do to myself to convince myself.
That's how I feel like with Guild Wars 2. Like, there's no in or out with me, or there's no in and out with me. It's like I'm either in or I'm totally out, and I have to. If I make that decision to go back, it's like, okay, this is my game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm such a weird gamer though when it comes to that approach. Like I literally like say I'll start like a playthrough of Mass Effect. I'll play like the first 2 and then like a portion of the third one and then not play it for like 6 months because I'll be
can't.
playing something else. And then I'll go back and like, where was I at? And I play 3 again. I'm like, oh, it's here. And then I just finished the game from that point. Like
Yeah.
I don't need to start things over. Maybe because I know that story's so
Yeah.
in and out, you know, but like I could do that same thing with like Cyberpunk and I could do that with Baldur's Gate now too. I have like 5 different playthroughs of Baldur's Gate happening right now, like where I'm at different points in
Different saves.
yeah, different saves, and like I don't get too I don't like the idea of getting that committed to
Yeah.
a single playthrough.
Yeah.
So is early access on consoles? Or is it
Good
PC
question.
only?
I think.
I think it's PC only.
Is it really? I don't know. I haven't even considered.
I didn't even know that Path of Exile was on console. To be honest with you, I've only ever looked into it on PC.
Well, because you said crossplay.
Yeah, I think. I'm trying to think of when Path of Exile came to console
We could probably find out right on this website.
on this great website. Let's see.
It's great. It's just great.
I mean, I guess let's just do a quick Google, huh? Probably what, 17? I'll say
2019.
17.
for PS4.
No,
PS4 version was 2019. Xbox was 2017.
Xbox came in. Yeah, interesting.
But when does this come out on console?
PoE 2.
PoE 2. Probably. I guess, yeah, same as everything else. Well, that doesn't say actually console. That's from PCGames.net, so I don't know.
Interesting. I don't know.
Launching on PC. No. Go down.
Sorry.
Right there. Where you were launching on PC, Mac, Xbox, console launch confirmed, but only current gen. Oh, no. I don't know. That's the forum.
That's the forum. That's not.
Let's see if there's early access.
That. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pushsquare.com.
Releases into early access on PC, PS5, and Xbox.
I mean, I could probably just go on the PSN store right now.
Oh yeah, I guess you could
Yeah.
see if
search
it's
it
even an
up.
option. I would imagine they would want to play test it on console as well. I don't know when I so enjoyed Diablo 4 at launch. Like I said, I've got like 250, 300 hours into Diablo 4. That was all before Season 1 came out. I mean, I fucking pumped that game.
It's on the PSN store right now. You could buy it.
Yeah. That's cool. I like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But I loved that game and it hit this niche. And once I put in that kind of time, I started to see its weaknesses. But and everything I've read since then is like, well, Path of Exile has this. Well, Path of Exile has that. And apparently, like this GGG, these developers, these grinding gear games, a lot of their developers push leaderboards throughout the season. So their developers are fucking full in invested in this style genre. And what they were saying today was they could technically. I was watching some video of a critique of PoE 2. They were saying if PoE 2 comes out and is great, they could technically own the number 1 and number 2 ARPGs in this space because I guess they still fully intend to support PoE 1. And what's really cool is another huge dub for the developers. all your microtransactions that you've bought from Path of Exile 1 transfer into this game. As long as it's not like mechanic specific or something like that. But if you bought like this cool outfit, it applies to your character in Path of Exile too.
Huh.
So it has its own balance and it has its own leagues, PvP system and stuff like that.
It's got couch co-op.
Oh, no shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. So side-by-side screen.
Couch co-op, crossplay, and cross progression, meaning if you have an account, you could transfer your character seamlessly from console to PC.
Damn.
See, when you're dealing with competent developers that like are actual gamers.
Aren't they based out of New Zealand? Isn't that where our old boss wanted to go?
Yeah, that
Kyle?
or Australia, but maybe New Zealand.
He's probably talking about Exile Con, which was hosted in New Zealand.
I think Grinding Gear Games Studios in New
Are
Zealand.
they in
He
New
wanted to
Zealand?
go
He was
meet
going to
them.
tour the
Yeah.
studio. Yeah,
There you
he
go.
was super into Path of Exile.
And then COVID.
And then COVID hit. He always was salty about that, which I don't blame him. But he had the trip planned and everything.
Auckland, New Zealand. Yep.
He was going to go on a cruise out of New Zealand. And then when he got back, spend a further week just touring New Zealand. And he was going to do the Lord of the Rings tour. And he had it set up to meet the Grinding Gear Studio tour. And he had that all set. And then COVID happened. And he's supposed to leave
that'd be
like that
sad.
March.
That's sad, dude.
Yeah, and he was a big gamer. So
He was a big Path of Exile
I hope
fan.
I hope he got a chance to.
He also
back and do it.
designed a game, like, not okay. That's loose. He didn't design a game, but he said that he really just wanted to meet someone that he could partner with that could like help
Build
bring
this
his
vision.
vision to life, because he had this like vision for this game that he wanted. And he's like, I recognize that I don't have the skill set to create this, but if I could just partner with someone, he's like, I know that this would be the greatest. Like, and he would talk about it all the time. And I always kind of wondered what would happen if something like that ever came to be.
Hey, maybe AI will get to a point where you can translate a concept into, a mocked up version.
Yeah, for a certain amount of money, but yeah.
So it's owned by Tencent. Ooh, how are we feeling about that?
I don't know enough about Tencent.
I don't know are they still? Yeah, it looks like they are.
What is
Still a
Tencent?
subsidiary.
What else do they?
A lot.
Oh shit! Like everything.
I don't know anything. I mean,
They
is
don't
it
have the best
Japanese?
reputation. Chinese.
Chinese?
They don't have the best reputation.
PUBG.
PUBG, Honor of Kings. Oh, these are all games that I probably would never play.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm excited for this. As
You've
I really am.
convinced me to keep my eye on it.
take
I
a
will
look,
say
man.
that.
I'm
They
excited.
have a ranger class. And
Yeah, let's
as
go.
we all know, that is
The class building is interesting because of the character creation. They're all lined up like on the hangman's block or whatever, and like they all have
like
different
right
classes.
here. I'm sharing the screen.
And then no, like in the actual character class creation screen. And then whoever you don't select, they all just die.
Oh, that's cool.
oh,
Yeah, I was just watching a little.
because you're the
trailer.
exile.
Yeah.
So there's a few classes that are not available. For this, but they have the warrior, sorceress, the ranger, the monk, which I think is a cool play style,
Fighter.
mercenary, and the witch.
So
What are the other ones that will come?
Marauder, I think.
Oh, you can't
Shadow.
look at it right now.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we can. Yeah, probably paladin of some sort.
Oh,
Oh, you always want to be
Are
a paladin,
those-
but you never do it.
yeah. Are those character appearances locked?
What do you mean?
Am I
Is there,
if I'm the witch,
is there actual character creation? Can you make them look however you want?
or am I the witch? And
Like-
I'm specifically her.
Your face? Like, can you edit her face?
Like if I want to be a dude witch.
Oh, I don't know. if you
Probably
can.
not.
I don't know if you can.
Sorceress
Yeah,
implies
That's
that
pretty-
that's one gendered.
Yeah.
I have to play as her.
I don't know how I feel about that. That lost a point for me.
That is so fucking
I'm
hilarious.
self-insert boy.
So you want what? Do you, like, so you want to play as a guy? You're saying?
I want to put myself in the
He wants
game.
to be a male
Yeah.
witch,
I agree with that.
a Mitch.
Especially in a game like this where it's like I'm gonna look so small anyways, and like it's so simple just to make me.
So just go and be the monk then. That's you basically.
Monks and witches
seen
are
you.
not the same.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
I was like, monk is literally a fist fighter.
They both believe in deities.
Witches believe in deities. I don't know.
So here's the monk.
Acolyte of
The
Chihula.
invoker.
I don't know if you can
The
become the
invoke.
sorcerer. I don't know.
Can you?
That is the.
I'm gonna look up
You're
character
looking it up?
customization.
I can't tell you how far from my mind, that question is.
There's no barbarian.
That's your warrior right here. And I've seen some of the.
That's the guy I'm being if I play.
It does not.
He has. It does not. You can't.
You're
locked.
him.
Oh, God.
There's no
So
character
sad.
creation.
Nope.
You can't change the way they look in any way.
You
Bummer.
okay with that?
I mean, I'm okay with it, but
They
I'm
have
a little
all the
bummed.
armor sets. You can customize that way.
Yeah, but if I want to be ranger and I have to be a girl, that
Remember
ruins
in
the fantasy
Diablo
for
when
you.
they said you can create you?
I just will never forget the clip where it was, I don't know, I want to say this, that she was playing the druid class. Okay, so picture this person in your mind. And she's in the character creation. Mind you, it had like 4 face options. It was the saddest, weakest excuse for character customization. And the girl is just on stream and she looks at the camera and goes, "It's me." It was so dumb. So dumb. Okay.
very dumb.
It's me. But that's what you're looking for.
Well, see, I would just want a male and female version of each class. I'm fine playing somebody who's already designed.
Maybe that's a future patch. I don't know.
In-depth equipment system.
So you've got like so they keep talking about this gem system. So PoE2, hundreds of skill gems that grant devastating active skills. So this is sort of where it takes like your base skill, transforms it and makes it better. And then you can combine them
Be a bunch
to
of
do
people
different
running around that
things
look
and-
the exact same.
Yeah,
Bunch of clones.
bunch of clones.
You guys are really set on that, huh? This was a hard sell anyway. So the entire game is built around endgame. So, which I'm really excited about.
We're in the
The
end
idea
game
of it
now.
being like a 40 or like a 30 to 50 hour campaign, I'm really excited because the campaign, when they were doing demos and stuff, actually looks interesting because the boss fights are really unique and fun.
Yeah.
It's exactly the kind of storytelling that I like, which is told through gameplay, and yeah, exciting. So, but I wonder. It kind of looks interesting though. It doesn't look like these. Here, let me change it to the browser. So for this, right, like you could apply. What it looks like is I could apply that to warrior or witch or anything. Like, are these specific to
The classes.
the class, right? So there's body type or armor, like because you remember in Diablo 4, only
Class specific
yeah,
armor.
right.
weapons
Like
and-
if you're a what they call it, sork, right? Sorcerer, you were that. That's like you can only get armor for sorcerers.
right.
It doesn't look like maybe these are outfits that apply to anyone.
Maybe there's a different version of that for each class.
For each
Like
class.
it'll look a little different.
Yeah, because it
depending
says
on-
like Warlord of Karui armor pack.
I bet you it looks different if you're a sorcerer versus a warrior, or but it's similar. You know.
I got you.
So this is your class here, huh? I'm guessing.
$100.
Because the lightning and the floating.
Yeah,
And the weak ass looking legs.
it looks like he's wearing
There's
a chandelier
hands.
around his
What
neck,
is?
There's like hands down here.
So this armor just makes you look
like a floating god.
however you want, I guess. So really,
Who's this?
That's me.
what is that?
I'm his companion character.
You're his companion. He's,
Yeah.
he's the main character.
No, I'm the fat dude rolling around with a binky.
Imagine you buy a game and you're the supporting character in it. You're not even the main character.
That might be fun. Like as a one-off game.
It's like a comedy game.
Yeah. Where it's like you're the side character. And so it's like you're just helping.
It's like Mass Effect where you're playing as Caden. You're like not even like.
So the commander doesn't choose you for a mission, and you have to role play 6 hours as they go on the ship, waiting for them to
You're
get
like
back.
doing chores. You're calibrating. You're like,
You're just a crew handler.
Do 3 chores.
fuck.
Optional.
Optional. Yeah.
You try and romance the main character, and like you can fail and watch them. Just like go to another.
Romance somebody else. No.
Damn it.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll keep it on it. If anything, if I do play it, I'm going to be monk, I guess. I'm forced to be monk now.
Well, I'm glad you said it comes out Friday. I didn't even.
Yeah.
I thought it was next Monday, and now I'm juiced up because
Juiced up.
wife's hosting a cookie party, and I'm going to be playing my game.
PoE 2.
I'm at like 20 legendary weapons, or not legendary items on Guild Wars 2. So I've beat Wing 8, bought through all that, like the new raid wing.
Yeah.
I've done 3 map completions. Like I've cooked through that game. Like I've sped run that game.
You ready to slow it down?
Yeah, well, because now I'm caught up, and now the next release is kind of February and stuff. So I'm looking for something to kind of plug in and grind away at, have a little fun.
Keep you occupied.
Yeah. And I just love the ARPG, like the true. I tried Lost Ark.
Yeah.
So everyone's like, "That's a really good ARPG." I couldn't fully get into that one. It's not really the best time to be trying to get into
Sounds
Lost
like
Ark.
a really good time for you to get into Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Came out on PC.
What about Baldur's Gate finally, you know?
That's finally crossplay.
With the boys.
When's that patch coming out? Didn't you guys send that?
That's
Next
on
year.
So,
Is that what they said?
Yeah.
yeah.
Like next year, January meaning, or like?
They
no,
didn't say.
like February, like Q1 sometime.
Oh,
But
okay, Q1.
yeah.
I thought it was like next week
No, they're like releasing
Slow
like
playing
13
that.
new classes or something
Yeah.
like that.
for Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Which is like so weird because they said they would stop supporting it and then they keep coming out with shit.
If we
So-
had a playthrough, could I play as the class that you played as? The one that with the modded one?
Oh, well, for context, right now I'm playing through like a really modded out game where I'm just a god and I can.
Could I play as that?
If you play with mods, yeah, I don't see.
But like if I'm on PC, you're on console, and I am playing with my mods, like
I don't know
does
the
that-
logistics of how that
It's
would
probably
work,
the
but
host can turn
That's how it
on
was on
mods.
Divinity. So
Yeah.
But Divinity was weird because anyone could launch the hosted session. So it's like you create the instance with the mods. That was the definitive edition thing, right? Like the mods were sort of stored in the game or whatever. And then anyone, like if you got on first, you could launch that session. And then I could join in, but it would still have all of our stuff.
I have a pair of gloves that does 5,000 damage with unarmed strikes. And it's just like I'm just going through just murking people.
See, that's the class fantasy that I want.
Yeah.
I get the whole I mods and me don't agree with like my brain. I get like
You don't like them, like on an
No.
ethical level?
I get
Like it hurts your morality.
no. I get analysis paralysis, right? And I'll sit there.
Paralysis by analysis?
Yeah. And I'll like be like, what mods do I want? Which will this make it not fun if I do this? And then by the time I'm decided, I'm like, I don't even want to even play anymore.
Huh. My thing is I have to do at least a couple solid playthroughs vanilla. And then after that, I'm
Have
fully acceptable. It's fully acceptable for me to just go nuts and have like an insane playthrough.
I wish
And
I
that's
could
what I'm
do
doing
that.
right now. There's no like I literally have like this godlike armor that my health is like 800 and something. I do like I can just fly everywhere in the battlefield. It's like I'll literally get an instance and I'll kill them all with one character. I have always like first initiative. every time. So I'm always the first person to attack every time, and I'll just wipe
You
out.
there?
I literally come in. I got like these giant angel wings, like this gold armor, and like I have this aura. I look like one of the angels from Diablo, like coming in. I'm just like
Where did-
smiting people.
Where does do people design custom art pieces like the golden armor and then they're able to mod that in?
Usually it's like tweaked versions of already
That
in-game
exists.
assets,
So they
but
just
they
change
make
the
it
color
look
palette or whatever.
better, you know. But like the armor I'm wearing is like a variation of like what Dame Alien wears.
Mm.
You know, it's like this very like paladin, you know, godlike looking armor.
Makes sense.
And then I have like this polyamory mod, so where like I can romance everybody with no consequences. And so like I got literally everybody in camp like
Everyone's
just
falling
like
in love with you.
yeah. I literally,
This is the greatest gameplay of all time.
and I'm like, this is Baldur's Gate.
You're just floating
unique.
around all your bitches. Like, hey,
Everybody's just like, and then there's like
simp to me.
you could do like an uncapped like party limit, so you could bring like
Yep.
everybody into your instance with you. So like you just have an army of people as I'm just flying.
Have so
around.
many turns.
And then it's comical because I literally roll up with my crew. I look like that. They just saw me destroy it, and then like a goblin will come up and be like, "What are you looking at?" Like acting like they're gonna kill me or something.
Like you, little guy.
It's definitely. I wouldn't say even so. I feel like the story is still entertaining, like even with all that. But it's definitely not how I would play. Like the first time I play, like you have to experience the way it's meant to first, and then you can do that kind of craziness.
Move on to the mod.
Mods are fun, but I agree. You got to play it at least once through regular, and then you can have fun with it. Because if you started with that, you would have a very warped perception of
Yeah.
And if you're me, you don't play with mods because
You're just not a fun enjoyer.
no. I'm like, this is I can't
It's not fun because it's not challenging.
It's not what the developers intended. You're ruining my core game.
It's dirty.
It's a disgrace.
All right, so
Purist.
moving on to Valve discussion here, the makers of Steam.
And Half-Life 2, Half-Life 1, Portal 1,
Portal.
Portal 2, Team Fortress 1, Team Fortress 2,
So they've
Left 4
developed some
Dead?
games.
Left 4 Dead 1 and 2,
Left 4 Dead 1 and 2.
Half-Life Alyx.
So they've been around.
They've made some games. Some of
Yeah.
those have been pretty. They're on Mount Rushmore. Some people's Mount Rushmore, at least. Team Fortress.
And
which
without
is
them, there'd be
built
no
on-
Counter-Strike, which is arguably one of the most prolific shooter
FPS.
Yep.
FPS.
Team Fortress inspired Overwatch, which is like
Well, Counter-Strike was originally a mod of Half-Life, wasn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
I think it was. It was and then it became its own game.
So Steam has changed some of their publishing rules for game publishers, and this the reason why I want to bring this up is because not because we're breaking news or anything,
We're developing a game.
because it's going to have ripples. I think for the industry, that's going to be is a massive dub for consumers, right? Gamers in this case, and so gamers #gamers.
Gamers.
So really, what are the changes? So basically, they've explicitly defined what DLC content is. So what they define it as is any additional content for a game that can be purchased after its release. Basically, it's so loose that adding skins to your store is technically considered DLC content, which is really, really good that it's defined this loosely because it holds developers and publishers to a standard. All right, so here's the new rules that publishers have to stand by. They have to clearly define if they're selling anything as a pre-order. So like they list something on the Steam store. So Steam for you console boys out there, Steam is like ubiquitous in terms of like buying games. It would be like the PSN store.
Everyone should know what
Yeah.
Steam is.
Well, just in terms of like when you because it's not obvious because you can buy games from like games websites and play
I would
through
argue
your
that
own.
Origin is
Better.
better.
Sure,
More
sure. Just undercut my entire argument. It's just like if you're a gamer on a PC, you have Steam installed. It's just that it's that common. commonplace. And so what they're holding these publishers to this new standard, which I love, is you have to provide a very clear description of what you're selling in your package. So if you list a new game or some downloadable content on your store, on the Steam store, you have to explicitly state what is going to be delivered for pre-purchase. So you can't just be like vague and say, "Oh, we're going to have content. It's going to be all new skins." Like you have to say, how many skins are you offering? How many new weapons are you adding? How many new maps are you adding? You have to be explicit about what that content is. And if you're not, and then if there's like problems that arise from that, because you didn't like gamers are upset, because remember, your perception is if you go and you buy a game on Steam and the game sucks, well, then you have to issue a refund through Steam, right? So Steam suffers in that case. Or if you buy a game and it didn't turn out like they made false promises and stuff like that, you're more mad at Steam because you paid Steam. You bought the game through Steam.
Right.
So Steam is holding these publishers. They're saying, hey, you want to fish where the fishes are, which is the gamers on the Steam platform. You're going to have to stand by these rules, which I love that they're enforcing these, because I think it's going to make the whole industry so much better. So you have to define exactly what you're selling. And if you cancel, actually, here, before I want to make that point, you have to also explicitly call out the quarter and the year in which you are releasing that content. If you miss that window, right, it's a quarter. You don't have to say a specific date. You have to label a quarter. If you miss that quarter, you can push it back one quarter, right? So, like, you say, hey, it's going to be released,
Quarter 3
in fall of 2025 or whatever, and then you miss it and it's winter 2025, you can only push it back once. If you miss it any more than that, you have to issue a full refund.
If requested, probably.
Yes, if I would assume
there'll be a lot of gamers
If there's
that'll be
gamers
like,
that are
"That's
like, that's fine, we can go on.
Yeah.
But that's a good point, I guess. If requested, that they have to issue. To this point, I don't think the refunds really have been too much of it. Like, I think those have come out of Steam's pocket.
Yeah.
I don't think that they've been actually hit. For the actual publisher, they don't take any. They sort of wrap their hands up and say, we don't own. We haven't released this content yet.
Oh, wow.
So it gives the gamers this outlet, this opportunity to issue refunds. Let me read other my notes here. Okay, so this policy restricts companies from selling DLCs, betas, or future projects without delivering on your promises, right? So that 3-month window, like, that's kind of tight. Like, how many things have we seen like delayed up to a year, right?
Well, I mean, the only thing I can think of where, in my personal memory, where something wasn't delivered that was like a DLC is Mass Effect Andromeda. So if in this case,
Or
you would
Anthem.
have gotten a refund on those games,
Yeah.
because those DLCs were canceled, like full on.
Both Andromeda and Anthem had like multiple like DLC planned and like things that were supposed to happen that they, because of a bad launch, they just dropped.
See, and as of right now, you're fucked. Like, if you pre-ordered
Anthem on top of that was supposed to be like a Destiny type
Live service.
game, and there's nothing.
So I have examples of this, but this is a perfect example. Imagine you bought the Ultimate Edition that included those DLCs. Now Steam is saying, no. If you want to sell games on this platform and you never fulfilled that commitment to gamers, you have to issue a refund for the full game. Yeah. So if you bought the game, you played the shit out of it, it was $100, let's say you bought the Ultimate Edition, and they promised you 2 DLC expansions, and then they canceled the game, gamers have the option to say, submit that refund, I didn't get my money, it was promised 2 DLCs. They have to honor that, which is such a big deviation from what it's been previously.
If anything, that'll just make it so where they stop making all these stupid launch editions.
Yeah.
Like, there could be like 1 or 2 variations of a pre-order, and then that way they can always fulfill on whatever they promised and then worry about the expansions separately. You're not pre-selling that.
Exactly, right? You're not this promise of content in 2, 3, 4 years, this unfulfilled, and you as the game studio really don't have anything committed to that yet. You're just trying to collect that revenue early. So like another example is like if you're selling a season pass, right? Let's say it includes the next 4 quarters of seasonal content or whatever. That's not good enough. You have to make concrete commitments as to what is in each of your release and provide a release schedule of exactly what you're releasing. So there's no more like vague promises that come with a large price tag that they can sort of squirmish around. It's like, hey, there's our DLC. We ended up cutting half the content, but it's technically a DLC. No, you have to actually explicitly describe what your content is, which is really cool because the flip side of that is developers like, well, we haven't really defined, like we're still like in the process of building it. Then don't sell it.
Right.
If you haven't even defined what you're ultimately going to build,
sell what you've created, not what you're going to create.
Or you have like a strategic plan in place to build it, right?
Yeah.
If you can't say what you're built because it's not done yet, you can't be collecting revenue on that. That's crazy.
Right.
So that's the big change from this.
Redfall did this too. Redfall was supposed to be a live service type of
that was one of
cooperative
my
shooter, and it sold like a season pack and everything, and that obviously never came to fruition. So
and Microsoft, they ended up issuing refunds for Redfall because they didn't meet those commitments and stuff like that. But there's other examples like Tekken 8. I'm not that familiar with that game, but apparently the DLC was just like they listed these options as like, here's our DLC content, and they were not clear at all as to what actually came with that bundle. Bunch of people bought it, and then the characters weren't included with the DLC. So then you had to buy the characters that you wanted to play.
Yeah.
So it was just like this kind of muddied water.
I think if I remember right, what had happened is there was content being sold that was in like trailers for it, but in the trailers there was characters that weren't part of that content, but they were shown in the trailer using the stuff. And then those characters were like people were like, "Oh, this comes with this guy." No, it doesn't come with this guy. It comes with this guy. What this guy's wearing. This guy actually is separate.
Which is now Steam is requiring you to be explicit about what you're delivering.
Yeah.
Because if you're not, then gamers have the right. They're entitled to a full refund.
Yeah.
So big dub there. And then City Skylines 2. I never really heard of this game, but apparently it's a popular game. They had DLC promised listed on the Steam store. Bunch of people have bought it. It's been delayed by over a year already, and they still don't have a release date.
No. What about Star Citizen?
What's that Star Citizen? I don't believe you can.
Access?
I don't think you can buy on the Steam store.
It's still its own
yeah
host, which a lot of games are going to pull from Steam, which is fine because if they're doing tactics like that, then you don't really want to support them anyways.
Well, exactly. Like I really don't like when games aren't offered through Steam. Like, that is a barrier to entry for me. Like, I'm not really going to go and download a game on your website. Like, that's very rare. If it's not offered on Steam these days, I'm probably not buying that game. Or Blizzard's, Battle.net thing, like some I hate how there's so many of them. But
Origin.
Origin's like EA, but even
I think
so,
Origin, I think they shut that down.
Yeah, I don't know if it even exists anymore because I was going to say I think EA transferred all their games to Steam, like Mass Effect's on Steam, all that. So
Epic Game Store exists, so there's a few of them out there, but Steam dominates that space completely.
Yeah,
and so
it's really supportive to indie developers as well, which other launchers are not, obviously.
Well, and like the whole idea, like Steam. It's crazy that Steam has to be the one that dictates like these new rules, because this to me is just you should be if you're offering sale of something with the like you should be beholden at some level.
Yeah,
there's just not that oversight.
There's no other market in the U.S. where you can get away with that type of thing.
Nothing.
Like
what do you buy in the expectation that it's gonna come out in like a few years and you don't really know what you're buying? You're just buying like a 3-minute video that you watched.
There's no other market where they sell promises.
Seeds.
Seeds?
for trees and plants.
No, but you know
I feel
that's
like
a
that's a
known
lot more
outcome.
guaranteed.
That's a known outcome. You know what that's going to blossom into.
Whether or not it succeeds
have
is on
no
you, and
idea.
you know that as
Yeah.
a consumer.
Yeah.
It's not like you buy it and then you may or may not get the water for it.
Yeah.
You know, like
Seeds, which is because it's got a delayed response.
Yeah,
And that has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
it has everything. I'm kidding. I was trying to find something that has that delayed.
It's delayed, but like I said, you plant a seed, it's gonna fucking grow into a tree.
Yeah.
You know what a tree is. It's there. There's no glitches with it. If you did it right and had enough sunlight and whatever, you got a fucking tree.
I guess
You don't know what these games are gonna come shipped with. They can make all these promises in the world and say,
movies,
"Well, we released the game."
movies to a much, much, much lesser extent. You could buy a movie
You could
because it has a damn good trailer, and then you
buy
go,
an
and the movie's
opening
terrible.
day ticket.
But even
know,
then,
or-
when can you buy a movie ticket to go see that movie?
On launch day. Yeah, you can't pre-order. Well,
you're
can
not-
you?
yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Like a week
actually.
before.
But like
Or a
a
couple
week,
weeks
or
before.
maybe a month or something
Yeah.
like that.
But I don't know.
You can't
Is
like
it because the risks are known? Like this may or may not be good. Like I feel like you can go like
imagine that
you can
like,
be a
let's
little
use
bit
that
more certain
example.
of the outcome. In a
Yes,
movie
Well,
than
you're
you
yes.
at least getting a
and
movie.
it's only a 2-hour commitment.
Yeah.
Versus a live
I've
service
waited
game.
years.
Yeah. Imagine that. We're making Gladiator 3. Sales go on sale now. And you go to Hollywood to buy the ticket that you can then redeem in 5 years when it gets
There's like
published.
crowdfunding goals.
Yeah,
Century
for
Mark.
the movie.
Crowdfunding goals. If we reach 300,000, we can hire Mel
Yeah.
Gibson.
Dude, the gaming industry is weird like that. You're right. It's so unique. God, that is weird. Could you imagine shit like you want milk? You could buy milk. You could buy the milk from a cow that's not even born yet, and it's going to be the best milk you've ever had.
They do operate that way for like indie films though. A lot of like indie films are made off of like investor money and with the promise of like, you know, like we're going to create something that's worthwhile, blah blah blah.
But if there's an investor money, right? Kickstarter.
Kickstarters
Is something where you invest, but they have protections put in place too.
But we're talking about $1 million corporations.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're not
Like,
talking
we're
about
not talking like your
indie
buddy
studios.
that's got a camera, you know. Like we're talking about studios that have hundreds of employees. It's just crazy. And it like because of these hype trains and IPs and they've somehow they're like we can generate revenue years in advance. Years in advance. Look at Star Citizen. How much money is that game generated? Did we look it
Like
up?
$1
Like
billion.
$500 million?
yeah, too much.
$500 million is something that's not even out yet.
yep.
It's never going to
That's
come
the
out.
smartest thing ever.
It's been coming out
Never
for,
had to deliver anything.
what, 15 years?
Yeah.
Something stupid.
It's a tech demo. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Well, good.
That's all. I mean, that's all good. That Valve is
guy
doing
Steam.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, Valve. It's crazy that they like. I hope what you just said doesn't occur where there's enough of a pullback from Steam that then you don't have because the benefit of Steam is that it's a marketplace where every game is. But
Yeah.
now all of a
One-stop
sudden, if
shop.
games start pulling off of that,
I don't
and
think
aren't
it'd
there-
be significant enough to affect
It's not.
them. I do think that they'll see some effect on this because there's going to be some developers that don't like being dictated on how they promote their stuff and blah blah blah. But the important ones are all going to remain because they don't care about that kind of thing. You know?
Right, and I think as gamers, like if you are going to participate, like you get one chance of this. If you were
One
like,
opportunity.
yeah, you only got
moment.
one shot.
Would you take it?
Because if you don't want to compile, if you don't want to take advantage of these rules, and you want to abuse them, and you have a large enough audience, you can do that on your own site. But then you get one chance at that. You do that once, you burn your audience, then they're not, you know what I mean? Like now people are going to get used to this. Steam's looking out for their, consumers' backs and saying, "Hey, I'm going to I'll pre-order this. Because everybody wants Steam wants pre-orders.
Yeah.
They want that because it's a revenue share, and gaming companies want that money too because it's expensive to make games these days.
Yeah.
So, but we just need way more transparency and way more accountability, and this is a step in that direction.
So yeah, I think it's a good move.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Well,
Did you guys hear about? I wanted to bring this up. Sony's acquisition, the talks of acquiring Kadokawa, which is From Software, its parent company.
Oh, I did. I heard a rumble about it. People are really nervous about it.
yeah,
I don't get why they're so nervous.
because of
Big man Sony
But the thing is,
Billy
it's like,
wouldn't be able to play.
PC.
okay,
So I think Sony they've shown they're more open to releasing games though on PC. I don't.
we
think
have God of War on PC now, Ratchet and
4
Clank.
years after the fact, but
No, but like that was because that was part of the first wave. But they have released other games
Like
pretty simultaneously, like oh god, Helldivers, and I think that's going to be more commonplace because the revenue potential. You know, obviously they'll take their
money
cut,
talks.
You know,
Yeah.
and if enough people
Helldivers
want
was
it-
them?
yeah,
Helldivers is Sony.
that's why people got pissed at Helldivers because
Was on Xbox.
no, it required originally a PSN account to play on PC, and PSN accounts are region locked in certain countries,
Ah,
and people were pissed because they didn't state that somewhere
when they bought it.
when they bought it, but they fixed it now. Now it's fixed, but it's like, yeah, that came out at the same
The
time.
Helldivers came out at the same time on PC as it did on console, and it's owned by Sony.
Yeah, but Helldivers is not like an IP. I don't think they probably realized it was going to be as popular as it was. That thing blew up. It was like the #1 played game.
Yeah, it's true.
But like, if you're telling me if they like God of War, I don't ever see the day
That it launches at the same time.
simultaneously. I say that I don't.
They want people. When I look at it, some
I don't
parts of me
know.
go,
I don't like
yes,
ever saying ever
they
forever.
want people to buy their hardware, obviously. But then also at the same time, their consoles always operate at a loss, anyways. So how much do they really care about their hardware getting sold versus just making money?
Well,
You know,
it's getting them into. It's not just the sale of the console. It's getting them into the ecosystem, right? When they sell a game through PSN, they don't have to split the money with Steam.
No.
There's no split there. You paying what is it to play PlayStation Now or whatever it's called, PlayStation Plus for a year? 70?
Depends on the level, but yeah, like 70.
The
a year.
lowest tier is 70. I think didn't we look at it? It was like 70,
I think,
right?
yeah.
That's pure cash. There's no
Cash
products
money.
provided. Costco, let's just talk about did we talk about this on the podcast once? Costco makes like all of their money from the subscription.
From people not coming in.
Exactly. It makes all
Well,
their
yeah,
money from
they are a subscription business and a product business.
their profit is like $2.4 billion, which if you do the math, $100 per year and 60 million subscribers, like basically to their Costco platform or whatever.
Yeah.
Like all of their revenue profit is from the subscriptions. Their products they don't make any money on. Basically, it's like sold at equal, and then anything like Kirkland and stuff is like basically almost sold at a loss.
I think
It's
Starbucks
just
too.
purely subscription based.
I
Wow,
think
that's
Starbucks
crazy.
too, through like gift cards and their memberships on their apps and stuff. I think they're that's how they make their money.
So like Sony, like if you don't own a PlayStation and you don't have PlayStation Plus,
I do think that they are
That's
going to
huge hit.
figure out a way to, if they do release on PC, they'll probably have their own launcher and that's separate from Steam. Like, if that happens,
Because to me,
I don't know.
I don't see Sony buying Kadokawa as a bad thing. I don't see it as a positive, but like a lot of people online are acting like the world's over, the world's ending because Sony's might buy.
Well, people don't like when companies just in general get a little too
big.
Monopoly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
a little too monopolized. You know,
I would agree with that. I
that's a lot of people's problem with Disney too. Is just the sheer volume of shit that they own.
I think it also just marks, like, the reason why they're probably selling it is because it's like worth so much money, and they're going to give up some oversight, and it's probably
No. You ready to? I know exactly why they're selling it. Like, if you look into it.
Hold on, let me just finish this
Okay.
thought. But like, I think it's marking an era of like Miyazaki's taking a step back. Like the fact that they're even considering this or whatever is that dynamic's going to change, and so even if they come out with Elden Ring 2 or whatever, or Elden Ring Squared, whatever the next game is,
Squared.
it's just not. It's going to be different. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
So that's not it at all. Like, if you look into it, what's happening is there's this, I can't remember the name right now. There's this Korean company, and they're slowly buying. So Kadokawa is the parent company of From Software. So it's like, they have a bunch of other, they do animes, they do a bunch of stuff. Like,
I'm thinking Kadokawa is From Software, but it's just a parent company.
No, it's a parent company.
Oh, okay.
But this Korean company is slowly buying shares of Kadokawa to the point where Kadokawa is scared, and they're the ones who ask Sony, "Do you want to buy us?" Because they don't want to be taken over by this other company, and they see that that's what they're trying to do because they're slowly buying more and more shares to the point
So
where
like if it comes between those two,
I would much rather it be Sony because this other company, I unfortunately I can't remember the name.
Is it all gotcha?
It's all
bullshit
gotcha,
and
like all a bunch
Korean,
of microtransactions.
everything,
Yeah. And so I would much rather Sony buy it because
Yeah.
if you look at Sony's first party game companies, right, they're all amazing.
the best.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Did you see that? All those rumors about a Bloodborne remaster
Yeah.
have been reignited because
Bloodborne, just for reference, Bloodborne trends on X about every 2 weeks.
yeah. Well, PlayStation just
Every 2
launched
weeks.
like a
30
30th
years.
anniversary thank you trailer. You know,
30 FPS.
but like it highlighted all their games, and the very last one of the trailer was Bloodborne, and it said persistence, and it was Bloodborne, and it was like a very high def 60 frames looking version of Bloodborne. For that split second it was on the screen, and so now everyone's just shitting bricks because they think that this means it's gonna be, this is Bloodborne is coming out now, a remaster, which it might, but like, come on,
It's just a
like,
remaster.
yeah,
Like,
it's like it's not that big a deal.
Well, and what's the huge appeal about that game versus like Sekiro? Is it just
that
because,
game is like the most beloved in
I
the
know,
From Software.
But is it just because it doesn't have the 60 FPS?
Well, that's part of it. People really want to play it on a 60 FPS.
And it's not PC, right? It's the only one that doesn't have PC release.
It doesn't have a PC port. So it's the only one that has launched
the holdout,
and then hasn't been given any special treatment after it's been launched.
which is
So, like,
this cult favorite,
Yeah, if it came out, a remaster
it'll
60
dominate,
FPS,
yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
I'll buy it.
It might
for
win
sure,
Game of the Year. Yeah.
Like I'll buy it. Like I'm not gonna not buy it if it comes out because I do love Bloodborne. But I'm also not like sitting here like just waiting for it.
You know what would
to come
be
out.
just
Like,
so much better? Bloodborne 2.
Yeah.
Just like I don't know.
maybe that's what it's announcing is that's gonna be a Bloodborne. But the
You
fact
wanna
that they
blow
chose
everyone's
the word,
mind, do that.
they chose the word persistence.
Wasn't it like B something? B.
It was like be magic, and it showed it like every game that come up there was a be whatever, be heroic, be adventurous.
They had
be,
Sly Cooper.
and then on Bloodborne's it said be persistent or whatever, and that is a very persistent crowd.
Keep asking.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we'll get
Maybe one day.
We'll hold on to it for another.
dance for me.
And yes, everyone's losing their minds over there right now. I didn't even like think about that until I started reading all the comments. They're like, Bloodborne remaster confirmed. And I'm like,
Every 2 weeks, it tells me it's trending, and it's hilarious because it'll be like the most obscure shit ever. Like, I found this fucking article from this obscure PC rant website, you know, like on this sub forum where this guy commented this date 7 years ago,
And he has insider access.
yeah, they're working on something.
Miyazaki scratched his nose in the symbol of
Literally.
Look, if you look at this footage from the development of Bloodborne, he did this with his glasses. He did that exact same movement at this conference,
and then all the comments
stating
and, like,
that Bloodborne's going to come out.
all the comments and like all the replies and stuff are all things like, well, I guess it's that time of the 2-week cycle, you know, because it just always is trending every 2 weeks or so.
Dude, that's power, though. Like, to get people that excited about something that doesn't exist. Like,
It's the only industry where, again, they could say, we haven't even started a project on Bloodborne, but we're going to go ahead and list it for sale.
they would.
What did they make, $100 million that day?
oh yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. I would much rather they were just like Bloodborne 2. And then secretly Miyazaki's been working on it for the last, however long, 4 years since Elden Ring came out.
Yeah, they build the engine for Bloodborne 2, and then that allows them to easily port the first game into the second game, and then they could re-release that one at 60 FPS, and then Bloodborne 2.
Miyazaki himself has said that Bloodborne was the most near and dear to his heart, but it's owned by Sony, so he can't really do anything with it unless they give him permission to. So that's why there's been no sequels. There was DLC that came out, but it was not on the scale of like Elden Ring's DLC. And then even Dark Souls, they all had like 3 DLCs. This Bloodborne only had one kind of short one.
it's better than Sekiro.
Sekiro got nothing. Except Game of the Year.
It did.
Game of the Year. They were too busy with Elden Ring at that point. Like, that game was in development at the same time as Elden Ring. And so like it was an amazing game, but it was developed by From Software's like B team. And so like they probably were like, damn, that was a big hit. Too bad we had nothing planned for it, but whatever. Like,
I'll never forget that speech when Elden Ring wins Game of the Year, just outright. Like it was just a
When the
man
kid came
amongst
up?
boys. No, not that. When Miyazaki was like, we'll think about making
like
making
this
a
is
DLC.
a good sign that we are making. We will think about making a
We'll
DLC.
think about it, guys. Right? Like,
It's just like,
It had all kinds of
So
weird.
weird.
Remember when like the first leak it was called like Barbarians of the Badlands
Yeah.
or some shit?
Bob.
Like,
Foxy Video took one snippet and made it an hour and a half long.
yeah,
video.
like
if you look at this image, it's
Look how the
Mikla.
grass is bent. This might mean when Radon passed. It's like, okay. what
it was.
the fuck?
Nothing was. Jesus, nothing was as speculated though as Cyberpunk. That was speculated to shit. It was so all.
Yeah,
over
and
the
anybody who
place.
participated in that speculation.
They were idiots.
Just dumbasses.
Idiots. God.
Who would do that?
This is like 15.
If you go back and like listen to our early
the
episodes, like
first
4
12
years ago,
episodes were.
we were pretty much just a Cyberpunk podcast, and some of the shit that we were like expecting, in hindsight, I'm like, they didn't really say any of this. Like, yeah, they promised more than they delivered, but like, I remember we were talking about like gangland wars and like rising up the ranks and like in certain gangs and it was just full on complete like. I don't even know where we got this idea. We were like saying like, yeah, and then imagine like it's a living world where like how you play determines who has more turf and it was just like insane, like shit that never would happen.
That sounds like that might be in GTA 6.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I've never been hyped on it. Like I like GTA okay, but it's never been like
Well, the setting is just uninteresting, right? Like modern day.
like I played through and I beat GTA 5 once and that was it. But I'd be much more hyped if it was like Red Dead 3. than
Yeah.
I would be about GTA 6. Not that GTA 6 looks bad, and I think it deserves the accolades and praise it gets. It's just not like the type of thing that I go home and like just pine over.
When I'm going to when I'm like dreaming, I don't ever really dream of being a GTA character.
When you
I might-
dream,
I might dream of being
like a
cowboy.
low level street thug.
Yeah, low level street thug, but instead I'll dream of being a cowboy,
Yeah. Why not?
a knight, but some dude who robs a bank.
Like, all right. I mean, It's like fun and it's very well designed. There are some people that are nervous because the anti-woke mindset is already kind of coming into play because GTA Rockstar has fired a lot of their a lot of the same people that are working on this game weren't even the same people that are working on GTA 5. And they said that their approach to storytelling is going to be different. And I'll reserve judgment. That could be a bad thing. I don't know if this. I hope that it doesn't become like a super woke thing. But I also think that people are getting a little too nervous too quickly here.
Well, and when you say that to me, what I hear or what I hope from that message is that just means that maybe they're mixing up how the story's delivered to you and making it a little bit more engaging than go pick up this character here, drive to the next shooting gallery, drive to the next shooting gallery.
The mission structure in GTA games is really not that good.
Exactly. So honest. That's what I'm hoping.
The storytelling is what sells those games, but it's so repetitive, and it's so pick up a character, talk to that character as you travel, get into a shootout, go back to camp or go back to your house. That's literally every mission throughout the whole thing. And the only reason they get away with it is because, for one, it's a sandbox. So when you're not playing the story, it's a sandbox. Anything. You can have fun. You can do whatever you want. And then for two, their stories are always really well written and well received, to the point where you put up with that stuff because you're enjoying the story.
So what I hope from that statement is that it's that part that maybe is different. Maybe, I don't know how, but
I think the team that develops the Red Dead games is better than the ones that develop the Rock.
I do like their
GTA
story
games.
better.
I feel like the storytelling in Red Dead is better than the storytelling in GTA. And I don't know, maybe that's blasphemous.
Well,
but
I've never been a fan of. I mean, we don't have many games like it, but the multiple characters.
Yeah.
I feel like you lose something when you do that.
When you're playing as multiple characters?
Yeah.
GTA 5's problem is it did feel like 3 almost good stories, but they weren't full because you're constantly going around playing in 3 different characters. Red Dead peeled that back, and then they went to basically just one character through the whole game until the epilogue. Mm-hmm. Which I think is the better way to do it. I agree with you. I don't think that you need the whole Trevor Franklin and what's his name? I forget the main dude.
Oh, geez. Trevor Franklin and
God, I forget his name. But anyways, I feel like that did take away. It didn't, instead of adding to the story, it did take away from all 3 of theirs. I also feel like Trevor was super annoying. I didn't like Trevor.
How do you feel Spider-Man 2 handled it? Because they're the only other game I can really think of where it forces you to switch.
I don't know. Maybe I'm more forgiving because it's Spider-Man.
I feel like it handled it better. I still do think it is.
A part of me still probably would have liked to have just focused on one character.
Yeah, because I feel like Miles Morales, the game, and Spider-Man 1, to me, have a stronger overall story by themselves.
Yeah.
I feel like story wasn't bad in 2, but I feel like it hits harder.
I've only played it once, and I haven't had any interest to go back, which is different from the first one. I played the first one 3 times in a row. Mm-hmm. So maybe it did contribute to my overall less satisfied take on Spider-Man 2, which I still loved, but that makes sense. Yeah.
How do you feel about multiple character stories, Billy?
Billy doesn't give a shit.
I don't like it when you have you're playing fantasy, and you all your abilities are different. That really bothers me.
Oh, when you switch and it's a completely different type
unless you're playing as someone who's obviously way overpowered all of a sudden.
Witcher.
Witcher.
When you go back between Ciri and Geralt.
That is the exact game that I was just thinking about. It's that feels like an upgrade, and where you're like, wow, this is so awesome because all her abilities are just supercharged. So it doesn't feel bad, but it's also just not great because then when you go back to Geralt, you're like, fuck, I want to do that.
I feel like it also gets away with it better because the Ciri parts were limited to just specific missions. It was a very small part of the overall game. The game is still very much a Geralt game. The series stuff was like, I mean, we're talking like 10 to 15 minutes of your possible 60 plus hour playthrough. So I think that is
it's balanced versus like even a lot of the Dragon Age Inquisition. Even just having to balance your trio of characters and stuff, that gets annoying too, because you fall in love with one, and then if you have to cycle to another and role play as that for even just a minute, it's like, oh.
So
I
like,
wanna
would
get
you
back to
not
my-
like Baldur's Gate in the sense that you're playing 4 characters at once and they each have?
That's annoying to me. Yeah.
That's annoying to you.
Yeah, I wish it was just like an autoplay feature where it was like
The other ones just did.
you could set like
think.
how smart they were. If you wanted to have, if you could say, all right, make them a normal character or expert level where it's like they're slotting in their own gear or their gear progresses with the story, and they're also hyper optimizing their skill allocation. They're understanding what's happening on the field. Like that would be awesome. I don't like that I have to play a warrior even for a minute.
So against.
Like, let me go. Oh, I gotta go run up to you. Ugh. All right, next.
So you prefer? I'm gonna stand here.
Magic Bowl.
In my current playthrough, my other characters aren't even getting a chance to play. I literally go there and murk the whole battle,
Walk with me.
and then I'm done, and then they'll act like they did something when it was really just me.
How was that underground level where, not the underground level, but the one level that you guys blew up the bridge with the barrels on for our YouTube short? When you get
Goblin?
to that guy where you just
Oh, it's not
ignite
even-
all the fire barrels on in the
It's
room?
not even. I
even a
can
joke.
literally, with all those mods that I have, I can kill
being in
all
presence.
3 true souls in that area in one instance. Because
You don't have to go back.
I think I can do a total of 13 attacks before I even need to use haste or an action surge. And so I could do a total of 25 or whatever attacks in one instance with the character. Because of all the different ways that it's modded out and
Hell yeah.
slotted.
So do you have like unlimited movement too?
And with the ability to fly, you can literally fly all over the map, and it barely uses your movement. And so, I'm literally just going in, just like a god, just going in, and who is this man? He's unstoppable. I recruited Minthara though on my current.
Knocked her out?
I finally was like, all right, let's do this, and I knocked her out, and then recruited her at Moonrise, and she's an interesting character, but she's still kind of not my cup of tea for a follower. I saved Alfira this time. I didn't let my Dark Urge kill her.
You
So
knocked her out.
I knocked her out and then killed that Dragonborn girl
the
instead.
pantless Dragonborn
Yeah, it's so weird to stand in for her.
murdered.
Murder.
Where can people find us?
They can find us right here on YouTube, where we stream every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific time, like we're doing right now. Come join us, comment, chat with us. Let us know what you think. Listen to our nonsensical rambling, or join us in our fun discussions of Prison of Exiles.
Path of Exile.
Not
I
the name.
was like, what are you talking about right now? What were we, prison?
Prisoner. What's
Probably
Destiny?
the most
Prisoner
anticipated game of the
Prison
year.
of
Prison? What?
PoE.
Path of Exile, PoE.
But in Destiny, there's PoE, and it's Prison of
Elders.
Elders.
Prison of Elders.
Prison of Elders.
Not the same thing at all.
No. But yeah, come join us. Check us out.
On that depressing note, the good KD, you get the dub.
Bye, guys.
Bye.